Hey there, this is Dave, Regional Educator for Professionnel. So we're doing things a little bit different. We are taking our education that we normally provide in salon. We're taking that same signature education to our homes. So welcome to Fort Lauderdale, my apartment. This is my prepared mannequin sectioned for you. I'm going to be taking you through today a blow dry. And for those of you who don't know, I happened to work for the very first blow dry bar in America in New York City. It was an amazing time, very trend-setting, and I'm going to share some of that with you today. And the products that I'm going to be using today are actually going to be our new transformers, which is the transformer lotion to paste and the transformer gel to mousse. So that's what these look like, nice and close. All right. Here's the gel. Comes out quite like shaving cream. All right. And then as you play with it, manipulate it, it will actually transform into a mousse. All right. Got to keep a cloth handy just to wipe my hand clean. All right. And here is the lotion, right? Lotion. And as you manipulate it in your hands, it actually transforms into a paste. So you can use it in any form. So it's two products that actually do the work of four, which is pretty amazing, especially for some of these smaller salons out there that have limited space and limited resources to carry a full line of product. So we have something for everyone. All right, so what I wanted to do today is actually just show you the sectioning to start. And how I broke it down is, this is the broken down sections into its individual parts of how I'm actually going to blow dry it. And then this side here is how I just normally let it sit. But when I actually do the blow dry, I'm creating these sections. I'm just not pre-pinning them, if that makes sense. Okay, so I always start with the mohawk parting. And how you determine where to place the mohawk happens to be where they part. So if they part on the right side of the hair, the mohawk just shifts over to the right. If they part on the left side, you just shift it over to the left. So the parting should be in the dead center of that mohawk section. If they're a center part person or they're a flipper, just do it from the middle, all right? You'll save yourself a lot of time. Now, one other thing you're going to notice about my mohawk parting is how far back it goes. It actually goes back around the occipital, right? So right around the crown of the head, actually. And that is because this part, when you're normally doing a blow dry, usually gets missed and it tends to get flattened out. So by taking that section down a little bit farther, you're actually creating volume to give the hair a nice arc. All right, so you're not gonna have like a divot in the hair in the back. And this I'm gonna break down into sections, which are going to be, here we go, brushes. No wider than the width of your brush. So you can actually use your brush as the guide. So one section, two sections, three sections, right? Pretty easy. Also, your parting should also never be wider than the width of your brush or the length of your brush. So here's the broken down side, all right? So this is my right side. I do down here, which is a smaller section, and then I break these into two smaller sections because if I try to do them in one, it's going to be longer than the brush, and I'm going to be doing some over direction trying to get all that hair under control, and that's going to interfere with how the blow dry lays once you're finished. All right, and then this is what it looks like when I'm actually about to start it, and then I'm going to mentally break it down into these smaller subsections. Then for the back, same situation. This is what mine normally looks like when I start, but how I actually subsection it is 1, 2, 3. So it's a rectangle, and a triangle, all right? This triangle also is going to go up so that you're creating volume that's gonna support the back of this one, all right? And so women who want volume blow dries, this is how you get it, and this is how you get it with support. And using the TecniArt transformers is how I'm gonna build in the hold. I'm also going to use the lotion, which is going to add 450 degrees of heat protection, and both of these products have a level 3 hold. So I'm getting a really nice hold to the hair but it's not stiff, so it's actually going to move with your guest, and it's going to be very natural looking and natural feeling for them. All right, the Absolute Repair Golden Quinoa shampoo with the Absolute Repair Golden Quinoa conditioner. Just gave her a nice little shampoo to make sure she's nice and cleansed. She's already had a haircut, so she's not all scraggly at the bottom. She has a nice long layered haircut. Now I'm gonna prep her, all right? So this is what I do. Typically, I would layer in heat protection all over, right? Because the heat protection from the lotion to paste transformer, I'm really only gonna use on the mids and ends, but we are blow drying her whole head, and so I do wanna give her head all over heat protection. So just give a little spritz of that in. This 10-in-1, the Absolute Repair Golden Quinoa 10-in-1, also has 450 degrees of heat protection. All right, I'm just gonna comb that in, all right, just for an even distribution. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna use both transformers. And how I'm gonna do that is I'm actually going to use the lotion to paste. All right, I'm gonna give it like two pumps, right? So about that much, nothing crazy. It goes a long way. Her hair's not thick, it's not really long, right? And I'm just gonna work that through. All right, no need to rinse my hands because now I'm gonna put in the gel. All right, so give it a little bit of a shake. Dispense some into my palm. Let it foam up, right? And then this I'm actually gonna put on the root area. So it's really great. So it's a little bit lighter, it's a little bit airier, just allowing us to get a little bit more volume out of that. All right. Keep a towel handy, so when you get a little crazy with your mousse, you can wipe it off yourself. All right, so now I'm just gonna comb that all through one more time, give it a nice brush through. And then I'm gonna tackle it from that sectioning that I showed you before. But before I do that, I'm actually gonna pre-dry the hair a little bit. I wanna remove 90% of the moisture before I do my sectioning and before I do my final blowout. That is only going to help me speed up my blow dry time and actually not overstretch the hair. Okay, so here she is. She's about 90% dry now. You don't want to go crazy. You don't want to over dry it. You especially don't want to over dry the ends. You still want a little bit of moisture in there because you want to be able to control those ends so that they become nice and smooth. All right, now I'm going to start to section her out. My comb is in my pocket. All right. Now, I typically find the part by just pushing it up this way. So she's kind of a center part. So let's go with that. Again, what we're gonna do is we're creating a mohawk section that's gonna be no wider than my brush. Okay. And then just a little tip for you, if you didn't already know this, but if you use your index finger on the point of the comb here and you drive it in the hair that you're trying to part to the other pointer finger, you always find yourself, no matter what. So pointer finger, somehow they always just know where each other are. So when you're making parting lines, it's very easy to make them nice and straight because of that. I'll try to keep that in there. All right. If you guys can see what I'm doing pretty well, let me know. If not, I'll bring her forward. All right, so I'm just gonna put in just a little Zulu knot just to keep her tight. And what you wanna do is you wanna tuck those ends so those ends don't get dried. Grab a clip. All right, taking my pointer finger, finding my part. So I'm going from the corner here, right to the mastoid process, right there behind the ear. All right, I'm just making a nice diagonal forward parting, and I'm just gonna gather up this hair also into a nice tight Zulu knot. Right, looking good, looking good. I also find that when you put your clips in, if you put them up, they hold the hair a little better, and then the hair doesn't fall out of them quite as easily. All right, so just a little tip. I'm going to do this other side. Same thing. Index finger on the point, going to the same part on this side, doing a diagonal forward parting. Also giving this, I'm just going to give this one a twist because this is where I'm going to start. All right, so I'm just pinning this one out of the way for now. One more clip. Gather this hair up in the back. This also is very important to make sure that you are pinning up the back, because if you don't, you're actually blow drying all that hair and it's going to be frizzy and flowing away. So you just want a nice, tight, clean working area. All right, so I'm going to shift her over a little bit. All right, I'm going to grab my brush. All right, I happen to use a square brush. You can use a round brush. It's just my personal preference. I have my section that I'm going to start with. All right, so I just take my clip, I slice it right through my section. So I'm going to do those subsections, but I'm doing it as I go. So here's my first section on that lower part, and I'm going to take this hair that I'm not working with, take my clip, and I'm pinning it over here out of the way. Because what I don't want to do is I don't want to dry those ends. Now, this is where I'm going to begin. So you always want to smooth the hair out with your brush before you start blow drying. And then what you want to do is have a look at it, right? It's a rectangle. So when you look at it, it's a rectangle. And so what we're going to do is we're going to dry that rectangle first, all right? Call that zone 1, right? So we're going to dry all 4 sides of that rectangle. Then we're going to move to the mids and ends, zone 3. And then we're just going to polish these ends, which is zone 3. I lost count before. But again, so here I'm going to start with the blow dry part. And I'm going to take my dryer, and what I want to do is take the hair, wrap it around the brush, and put these ends out of the way. And then I'm going to take my dryer, and I'm actually just going to scoop. Go into the root and scoop. So one of the things that you don't want to do when you're blow drying is to do one of these sheep actions, because that actually creates frizz, and frizz is not what you want when you want a nice blow dry. So you want a scooping action. This takes a few seconds, then you're going to release that, and then you're going to go to the front section, and you're also going to scoop. All right. Then you're going to go to the back section. Again, moving the tails out of the way, and you're going to scoop. Lastly, you're going to come from underneath. Pull it straight up, and you're going to scoop. Okay. Now that her roots are dried, now we're going to start to dry zone 2. And here's one of the tricks to creating a voluminous blow dry. So instead of just blow drying the hair here, so it lives here, what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to move my body position slightly forward, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to over direct the hair forward and curl it back. And what that's going to do is add the maximum amount of volume from the root, but still placing the curl in the direction that I want it to go, which is going to be backwards. All right, so brush into the hair, right? Flip this over out of the way, and then I'm moving forward. So I'm going to move forward like this, touching those tails, and then this is my hardest side. So what I'm going to do, it's really hard for me to get this front section with the way I hold my blow dryer. So I'm just going to do a little flip. All right, this is going to help my wrists in the long run. It's going to help me prevent carpal tunnel syndrome. All right, and then I start rocking the brush out. All right, rocking and rolling. That rocking and rolling motion is how you're building in the bend into the hair. All right. So if you were to start at the bottom and then work your way up, you're actually creating straight hair. So by starting at the top with this rock and roll action, that is actually how you're creating the bend and you're building the bend in from the root to the ends. This is how you get a blow dry that lasts 3 days, all right? And when you're working at a blow dry bar, that's what people want. And so that's just a little tip for you. One of the other things that you can know as a tip is that if the hair is still cold to the touch, that means there's still water in it, all right? Another tip is if you're moving the brush through and it's still sticking, so I still feel a little bit of a stick right there, that means it's still wet there as well. So just continue on with your blow dry until your brush slides through without any of that stick, all right? All right, and now we're on zone 3 now, moving on. And what we're doing is we're polishing those ends. We just want to treat those ends nice and smooth. All right. One more time. Get the whole thing. And now I'm going to cool shot it. All right. So I'm cool shotting it. I want it to cool on the brush a little bit before I let it down. So I'm still working that bend the same way. And then I start to move my body around. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my brush and then release my curl. All right, and then that is how you create some volume. So if you look at there, her blow dry is actually coming out of her head. The bend is starting very close to the roots, the top of zone 2 there, and then she has a nice flip. Okay, so I finished the section here, completely dry. This is all curl from my brown brush and the blow dryer. And so now normally what I do is I'll have a conversation with my guest and say, is this amount of curl that you're looking for? Are you looking for a little bit of more curl, a little less curl? Are you happy with the volume? This is a great time to touch base when you're doing a blow dry because now you can course correct yourself if you need to. So if your guest says she wants more curl, maybe what you do is drop down your brush size. So I started with this, and maybe what I need to do is this because she wants to have curlier hair. So the smaller the brush, the tighter the curl. The larger the brush, the larger the curl. Okay, so if she says she wants more curl, then again, I would go to the 1-inch brush and dry that in, build that curl in, and then I would continue to move on with the rest of her blow dry. She can relax, read a magazine, go on TikTok, whatever she wants to do. You know, as it is when you're in a salon, it's hard to have conversations when you're blow drying. So if you've already checked in with them and they've agreed with the look that you're going for, they pretty much can zone out and do whatever it is that they want to do while you're doing finishing up their blow dry. So kind of takes a little bit of pressure off of you trying to have a conversation over the blow dry. Okay, now both sides are done. Now it's time to attack the mohawk section. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unclip the Zulu knot. I'm going to take my first section that's going to be no wider than the width of my brush. Right, and I'm going to take this, pin this back out of the way again so that we're not over drying those ends. And what I'm going to do is, normally when we are doing the blow dry on the top of the head, we're really giving our shoulders a workout because what we try and do is we try and do the blow dryer and blow it straight up this way. And yeah, we're pulling up, which is actually causing a lot of tension in our shoulders. And so what we're going to do instead is be mindful about our body position. And so what we're going to do instead is actually group this hair, smooth it out before we do our blow dry. We're going to land the brush on base, wrap this hair around, and then we're actually going to blow dry it, pulling it forward. We're going to over direct it forward, creating volume so that when we lift it over, it's going to have all the volume going back. It's counterintuitive to what we know or what we've been doing in the past, but you can actually create more volume that way. So here we go. I'm still approaching it from the box. It's drying right. I'm going to dry the root. I'm doing the scoop. Drying the side. Also scooping it out. Drying the other side now. All right, I'm going to go over here just for a camera view. I'm going to do my little scoop. A little harder this way just for the camera. And then I'm going to do the front. You see what I did? Instead of trying to blow dry it this way, which is uncomfortable, I tilted my arm the other direction. So this is causing volume to go straight up, right, as we're drying that root. And now we can start on zone 2. So I'm keeping my hand in my dryer this way, and then I'm going to do my rock and roll action, pulling it over directed forward. All right. Always going back to the base. What you want to do is bend and work the curl in. All right. Try and control those ends so that you're not killing them. You know, you don't want to fry them and make them frizzy. All right. So now I'm on my zone 3. Zone 2 is dry and my brush is slipping nice and easy. All right. Now I'm just going to work on polishing up those ends, making them nice and smooth. All right. Now I'm going to hit it with the tool shot. You're going to see the amount of volume that brings out. Look at that volume. So if you pulled it straight up, you wouldn't be able to get that same amount of volume, which is pretty amazing. All right, so she's all done. This is her blow dry. You see all this beautiful volume up the top. All right, you see all these individual separated curls, all with the round brush. All right, now what I'm going to just do is take some of my Infinium 4 hairspray from TecniArt, and I'm just going to try and tame some of these flyaways. So I'm just going to give her a light little spray. And how you can tame those is actually take the can and just tap them down. Sometimes just using your hand is too much. So get a little spray, use the can. All right, her hair is going to stay nice and bouncy. Give you an up-close look. All right. So that's my blow dry using the L'Oreal Professionnel TecniArt transformers, the lotion to gel, lotion to paste, and then the gel to mousse. You learned how to dry the roots, so you're getting all this amazing volume, right, without actually having to hurt your shoulders. Well, great. I thank you so much for your time today. I am going to leave you with a call to action. I'd like to tell it for you guys to put a comment in the box and let me know, what would you like to see next? Would you like to see coloring techniques, the French techniques? Give me some ideas below, and then we'll start to brainstorm our next class together. So thank you for your time. Thank you for taking a moment to spend your afternoon with L'Oreal Professional Education. And be safe out there and have an amazing day.